So I'm Hannah Brodheim, as I imagine most of you have figured out at some point. And I joined Model UN when I was in my sophomore year, and this sounds like an Alcoholics Anonymous video. Anyway, it's just kind of an accurate description of how Model UN feels.
Amen.
I love Model UN.
It's okay, this is a safe place.
Thanks, bud. So I actually joined Model UN when I was in middle school and in 7th grade and didn't talk. Like, actually just didn't talk. It was kind of hilarious. So my teacher in 7th grade, who made me sort of do Model UN and talk, kind of owe him a lot, since talking was kind of fun. But then when I got to STI, I joined debate, and then I quit debate, and then I joined Model UN, and it was much more fun and much more interesting. So I guess there are a couple entertaining stories that I feel are important to pass along. First of all, so all of you know how to properly appreciate your sec, sophomore year of Model UN, they did not teach people anything. The only people who learned anything were the people Isabel and I taught. Isabel, who also did Model UN with me in middle school. Yeah, so that's so appreciate your secretariat. I know the meetings piss you off, but seriously, guys. Okay. So there are a couple entertaining stories, especially a couple that I'd rather, kept secret because teachers don't appreciate being told how you completely break their rules for no reason other than your vague entertainment. So the best of that is probably Wamong's sophomore year, where me and a couple people who shall remain unnamed went to someone else's room, and those people will remain unnamed. Suffice to say, they were not of the same gender, and we were not allowed to be there. And we stayed there up until like 4 in the morning watching Doctor Who. and I'm giving up on the unnamed thing. I was roommates with Isabel and 2 other seniors. I didn't really know them. So we finally go back to our room. It's like really late, and sort of like, what the fuck were we doing up this late? But we go back, and the door to our room is open, and the light is on, and the floor is soaking wet, and it's a carpeted floor. It takes a lot of water to properly soak an entire carpeted floor. And we go in there, and our roommates are kind of panicking. Apparently what had happened was one of them had flushed the toilet, and the water just kept coming out. Flooding the solid half of the room. At which point, they were like, this is not a good thing. So they called the hotel, and the hotel was like, seriously guys, what were you doing in the room? Convinced that they were like delinquents who had just been screwing around. They actually hadn't been screwing around, which is kind of sad. 2 seniors, end of the year, and they were just, what if they didn't have a boyfriend on the trip? And she was just sort of there. They called Miss Bushman, who was our faculty advisor at the time, but she had not answered her phone, thank God, because they did not have Isabel or my number, or have any idea where we were. It was 4 in the morning, and we'd been gone for hours. So, very relieved that we got to our room without Miss Bushman realizing we weren't there, and not too thrilled that our entire room was flooded. We spent a rather uncomfortable night. I mean, the beds were fine, but it was still pretty uncomfortable to have the entire room soaked. And the next morning, we packed up our bags and went downstairs and refused to tell anybody why we were switching rooms. And really just were very, very, very grateful that we had not gotten caught. And this is why you should all stay in your rooms and never break any rules at conferences. Absolutely never. I'm nodding to show how important this is. And how I would never do this again. So there are so many stories I could tell about Model UN. So many stories about being in conferences and really doing ridiculous stuff. And just spending the entire conference making fun of other people and making important speeches and listening to people make absurd speeches. But I mean, really the point is that Model UN is really wonderful, and you don't always have to follow the rules. You should always follow the rules. Always follow the rules. But I'm just really thankful for having been in Model UN and for the people I've met in Model UN. you know, all of the other seniors, but also all of the underclassmen and all of the people who have graduated before, because it's really been a great thing to me in high school, and I've really appreciated it. And I may or may not do it in college, but I do know that it was really a fundamental part of what high school was to me, and I'm really glad of that.